our customers want to know who is Apple and what is it that we stand for. Where do we fit in this world? And what we're about isn't making boxes for people to get their jobs done, although we do that well. We do that better than almost anybody in some cases. But Apple's about something more than that. Apple, at the core, its core value, is that we believe that people with passion can change the world for the better. That's what we believe. And we've had the opportunity to work with people like that. We've had an opportunity to work with people like you, with software developers, with customers who have done it in some big and some small ways. And we believe that in this world, people can change it for the better. And that those people that are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones that actually do.
So that was Steve Jobs in a speech from 1997, and I think Apple just purchased Next, and he came back to Apple when it was on its way down. And so this is a video. I think Iron Man, you sent it to me. Like this, like represents sort of like, you know, something that we're going for in the sense that we want to help people, you know, build stuff, do something constructive,
and not just us. It's like I really like I like the whole Steve Jobs approach to like his philosophical ways of conveying his message to, I guess, the world at large, right? That's why Apple was such a successful company. I feel like he created a culture, not so much just created products, you know, and like all of us who are involved in Decentraland kind of have this, we're trying to figure out how to convey like what is Decentraland to the world, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And what's the best message to relay out there? Is it a platform or a video game? You know, there's that debate. Why come to Decentraland? I see this in the Discord all the time, dude. Like in the general chat, we're getting a lot more like new users, kind of like, I don't know how, but they're just getting more, there's more awareness kind of spreading out there. And I see them daily coming in like, what's there to do? Why should I come here? You know, and a lot of people, they're not giving them that heartfelt message that I think is lacking from the community. It's more like what he's saying, like, oh, you know, giving them like the specs of,
this is decentralized, and you build the world. I guess all the stuff that everyone says about Decentraland, like they start comparing it to the other worlds, how they're less better, right? They're lacking something that Decentraland has, and you should spend your time in Decentraland.
Yeah, and I've seen people who are conveying the right message. Like I think I saw CryptoNaut say a reply to one of these people that don't look at it as like, oh man, I spent the last 30 minutes in Decentraland just wandering and I'm already bored.
Yeah,
that's kind of like the feedback that they're giving. He's like, don't look at it from that way. Look at it as like you're witnessing a world of potential instead.
That's right.
Instead of looking at like, oh, it's just this is bullshit. What kind of game is this? Look at it like, oh, there's a lot of potential here to create something of value. So how can I get involved? How can I participate? How can I use this to my advantage? It's not often that people have the opportunity to get involved in something so early like that. And it's like an open source thing where you don't have to, anybody can get involved literally.
Yeah.
It requires your own passion to do that, because we've identified that there's not a great incentive structure to get involved, because, you know, to create anything of value requires great amount of work, and a great amount of talent and skills like that. And that's valuable shit.
Yes.
You know, that's stuff that big companies pay tons of money for people to do. But in this case, it's kind of like up to your own, you have to come to that conclusion yourself, whether or not you want to get involved. So I don't know. I think that's.
It's funny you mentioned that. You happened to miss the roundtable that happened yesterday, and one of the main takeaways that I took away from the roundtable was the whole conversation that we had previously in the past. I think maybe couple of days after the launch of Decentraland, how we were comparing that we'd rather see a land of green grass rather
That's what
than
you
builder
said.
stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah, remember that?
that was
Well,
good. That was a good quote.
yeah. And so I brought that, conversation up again in the roundtable because when you explain Decentraland to somebody, you say all the good things. Decentralized, it can never be taken down. Your investment here is going to last you for decades potentially. And then you start building this world in your mind. It's like, wow, Decentraland, that's a place I want to go, right? And you jump in and you're going to see one of two things, right? Either green grass or builder stuff. And the difference between the two is if you have this preconceived notion of what Decentraland is, and you see a bunch of builder stuff, you're going to think, oh, this is it? This is what I get for this world, this open source world that I can build on. Like, this is it. Versus they see a bunch of open land, green grass. They have an open, imagination as to what can be built. That's what they see with green grass. It's better to see green grass than builder stuff.
Yeah.
And it seemed like everybody agreed with that during the conversation. Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, I think that's why the people who are involved right now, that's what's keeping them around. Is they're dude, it's like an insane creative outlet for like developers and 3D artists and stuff like that. I don't think that really existed before. Meaning like where you have the opportunity to freely create and contribute and like market your work and product.
Yeah, and
independently,
and to contribute, there is a barrier, a high barrier to contribute and build stuff. Okay, yes.
Yeah, we gotta really talk about that aspect because there's kind of like a division, right, in the mind frame of the community where some people want it to be so
easy to build.
Yeah, anybody without that skill set can create, which I understand, but if you're gonna get high quality products, you kind of have to leave it open to the people available to provide that kind of service, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess you could elaborate better on that.
Yeah, I mean, this platform is for developers. It is that way whether you like it or not, right?
Yeah.
And the one of the main reasons that CryptoVoxels is successful is because artists get to build stuff in CryptoVoxels and sell their art through CryptoVoxels. They can monetize their art through CryptoVoxels. You can't do that yet in Decentraland. So that's the difference. That's why CV is so popular amongst artists, is because they can monetize directly through that platform. And that's another reason why Decentraland has a potential, because they just need to allow that capability in the SDK, and then all of a sudden you can start monetizing anything that you want, artistic wise in Decentraland. So that's one of the main things that I see when comparing the two worlds. And ultimately, it comes down to an open possibility in Decentraland. If you see that green grass, your imagination runs wild. If you see something else that is builder-based, that is very basic, you leave disappointed. And I think one of the guys who just jumped into Decentraland, I'm pretty confident that he just saw a bunch of like lame buildings and just lame creations, right? Something that wouldn't impress anybody, right?
Yeah. Sorry, I had some background things I had to deal with. It totally threw me off the path, dude. No. Completely.
You're good. But, I didn't hear anything, so.
Oh, you didn't?
No.
Okay, good.
So yeah, that's sort of what we want to kick things off. We have a lot to talk about today. This is episode 68 of the Block Runner podcast. I'm your host, William. Always here with your co-host, Iman.
Yeah, man. It's good to... Yeah, I can't wait till this COVID shit's over with. I mean, this is okay, but I feel like it's better whenever we can have like real-time conversation.
I totally agree.
It feels like it's been an eternity since we've been able to do that. It feels like it's like we haven't done that since like the launch of
yeah, that's what it feels like. I mean, pretty much as soon as it launched, shit started to hit the fan. I was like, hey.
It's true.
After the launch, I don't know when we did that video about China and them spraying, some chemical, throughout the city.
It was pretty early, dude. It was like
when January.
Yeah, like the end of January.
Yeah.
Whenever it was contained to Wuhan, we were already speculating like looking at videos of airports in Southeast Asia that were like completely empty
Yeah.
and stuff like that. We were like, okay, like this looks like a big deal. Nobody was treating it like a big deal at the time. Everyone was just kind of like, oh, it's just China, dude. Like that shit happens all the time over there. But it turned into a mass ordeal, and now we're kind of like forced to do this,
Yeah.
social distancing thing. But saying that, yeah, I feel like it's been a while since we've actually been able to recap on like the events of what's going on in Decentraland. Actually sit down and reflect about these things.
Yeah.
That used to be what we were all about. We did that weekly pretty much. As we were developing MetaZone and as we were creating games and stuff, it was just like a nonstop, source of information for all you people watching. I would like to get back to that because there's so much going on. It's actually like insane.
For the new listeners and viewers out there, everything that we built so far has been completely open in the sense that we've talked about MetaZone before it was built. We talked about the Block Runner games way before they were built. Everything that we built so far has been talked about in the past. So if you wanted to see like the origins of why and how we created this stuff, you just go back and listen to the podcast and watch us really talk about this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And just recently, I announced on our Discord that we've had our 300th purchase just yesterday, and 10 days prior, Corv announced that we had our 200th purchase. And so things are picking up because creators are starting to realize that there's a way to monetize, spending their time in Decentraland.
Mm-hmm.
And with a high barrier to entry, there's an opportunity for people to build stuff for other people, in a way where it's not like a contract. It's not a one of those contracts where you just build stuff for others for $6,000.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like a unique build and you just deploy it and it's over.
And in a lot of cases, these are being created by complete new, like people new to this creation process.
Yeah. New to Blender, new to development.
I think they heeded our initial call, maybe like a month or a month and a half ago. We were pretty much publicly were calling for this. We were begging the community to start contributing in any way they can, because now there's a platform available where you could do that viably. You're not just donating your time and talents for nothing, right? There's potential there for you to recoup some of your
and ultimately this is an open market. I mean, you're gonna see stuff, some cool builds from people, and those things are gonna sell. Those with reputations are the ones that are selling the best, and it's open to everything, right? You could submit a building, a plant, a couch to a more complicated game that requires a backend system that's hosted somewhere else. So MetaZone is completely open to sell those experiences, and you don't have to use MetaZone's backend. You can run an entire game completely outside of MetaZone and sell the game that works in Decentraland through MetaZone. And because it's a distribution platform, and every submission is an NFT. And once those NFTs are released, then you can sell them on OpenSea, open market. You can do trades, pretty much anything you can do with a regular NFT. Like that's going to be completely possible.
So let's talk about that then, because we've been talking about this, and the whole NFT incorporation has been a part of our vision from the beginning, right? It's probably the most difficult part of
so
finishing this puzzle that we're trying to do.
We should explain that. So the order of operations is NFT happens. One of the last things that happened, because before that we have to do smart contract payments.
Yeah.
And what's interesting about smart contract payments is, I think there's versions of smart contracts that can be upgraded, but it's not a simple process. And so the reason why this is a slow process is because we can't really predict the different ways people are going to want to monetize their creations, right? Some people are going to make games where there's a 50-50 split with the landowner, but in other games there might not be. Maybe that may not make sense. Other games may be an 80-20 split with the landowner. And other ways to monetize would be donations.
That's a big one.
And not only that,
Tell was bringing that up.
Yeah. And then think about donations. Like how should it be split amongst the creator of that meta, like SugarClub, with the landowner, and how should that be split up, right? That's the question. And then you have other experiences where you could donate, and then maybe something happens within the parcel, right? Like donating creates gives you an NFT of something, right? We have to be able to incorporate all that stuff in a smart contract, and the reason why we're doing a smart contract is so that nobody has to trust MetaZone for their payments. And all what this will do in a smart contract MetaZone platform is you'll be able to go to your account and then hit the withdraw button, and that you withdraw, pay the gas, and you get what you earned in Decentraland, right? So that has to come first, right? That has to be enabled and launched first, and then once that's launched, then we can hook up smart NFTs. And these smart NFTs, as soon as you make that sale in OpenSea, or as soon as you send one of these MetaZone NFTs to somebody, like for our games as the best example, the address that the funds, when people play the game, the funds that money gets sent to is automatically changed when that NFT is sent to somebody else. So this is like automation, right? It's as soon as you send that blocker NFT to somebody, it starts using his address for payments, right? Without having to touch anything, make an update in MetaZone or anything like that.
Yeah, because you don't want to like transfer ownership of one of your metas to somebody else, then like you're still generating that revenue, right? Even though the ownership is transferred to somebody else. It's got to be like instant, seamless. As soon as that ownership right is allocated to somebody else, you're no longer, that party that's generating that revenue. It's got to be all automated. Like
yeah, it has to be automated, because although there's a lot of buildings and a lot of like fixtures in MetaZone right now, we believe the most dominant form of meta would be like these interactive experiences that developers are going to be making, and those interactive experiences will have that automation built in, where for the creator, they just submit that experience into MetaZone that generates an NFT, and then once that NFT gets passed around, the addresses change automatically, and it's just an easier experience for the creator, easier for MetaZone, more decentralized. There's nothing to really update within MetaZone to sell an NFT. And so that's the world that we're trying to create, and I think it makes the most sense, and it's not easy. So it's going to take some time, and we're only about less than 3 months out from the launch.
Yeah. Otherwise, if we don't, take our time with this infrastructure build and actually try and do it right from the get-go, because from my understanding, smart contracts, they're pretty much like not like irreversible in a sense, right? Like once they're set in stone, like there's a master smart contract, it's the details of these agreements are pretty much non-reversible.
But it is. But even if you look at Decentraland, some of the smart contracts that they created, it takes a DAO vote to make an update to that smart contract. So they are upgradable. It's just there's just controversies with upgrading smart contracts, right?
Yeah.
And
like who controls them, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's what we're trying to avoid.
Yeah.
In part, at least.
And if it ever gets to the point, like, the more and more we build out MetaZone, the more and more we realize, like, we're setting up like an actual DApp. If you go back to our podcast, like before we even started building anything, it was just you and me just, shooting the shit and trying to figure out what the hell are DApps.
Yeah.
What is decentralization? Like because nobody really built a true DApp yet.
Yeah.
So we couldn't really look at anything like, oh, this is it. This is how an organization that's not run by a single entity, it's controlled by its user base, and it's successfully functioning, right? There's nothing you could point to.
There's
like
no
that's
example.
It. Yeah. And it feels like we're actually creating one of the first ones. Like the groundwork the potential is there to where, like you're saying, if the community wants to make different, like pathways or decisions, like it could be potentially left up to them.
Yeah. That's something that we should discuss too. It's like, MetaZone, one of our goals is to decentralize it as well. So like for example, we run a server, a deployment server to deploy metas. But we don't have to be the only ones to run that server. Somebody else could be doing it. So if our server goes down for whatever reason, that other server will pick up the slack. And, that's just one way that we're going to additionally decentralize. And that's our goal, really, is to figure out ways to be headed in that direction.
Yeah.
And to do this, starting with decentralization, is putting the cart before the horse, because we didn't know that this was going to work. Like, we had no idea that. I mean, we had it. The reason why we did is because we thought it would work, but we had no evidence to support that it would be working.
That's right.
Right.
We just kind of recognize the
barrier to entry, the high barrier to build stuff, the high barrier to deploy stuff easily, like all that stuff. The reason why we know this is because Corv built the Block Runner game, deployed it, and realized, hey, this is not easy, right? We can't expect people to know how to do this. And we can't expect individual landowners to be able to deploy stuff on their own for 45,000 parcels.
Yeah, we made the initial judgment call that, most likely these 90,000 parcels aren't owned by developers.
Yeah.
Most likely, these are crypto assets, NFTs. Most likely people who hold these, this developer bandwidth is what we call it, are speculators. Like somebody like me, somebody who just look at the vision of the project. It's like, oh, I just want a piece of it, but I can't do shit with it. I'm just holding on to it, waiting for the next guy to do something cool.
Yeah.
So that what I'm holding on to all of a sudden appreciates in value. It's like, thanks, dude. Thanks for doing all the hard work.
Yeah, right.
Now I'm gonna drop my bag on you and just completely ruin your economy and all your hard work, right? So that's not sustainable,
Yeah.
So that's kind of exactly why we thought of doing this,
Yeah, and we figured that one of the speculative aspects of building MetaZone before we built it was we had an inkling that if we built a platform that allowed others to make money, that it would be successful. And we figured that if we align the creator, the landowner, and the players, that we can start bringing up that daily active user number.
100%. And we're starting to see it just because just little nuggets of content throughout the world now, with all these, we're having music events now, we're having conferences, we're having radio shows and stuff. All this wouldn't be possible without creators creating the actual meta experiences in the first place.
That's right.
So the more meta experiences that are out there, the more diversity there is, the more content, the more community events you're going to start see popping up.
Yeah, and ultimately that's what the point of NFTs was, that you can limit the digital assets to a certain number, thereby creating value for that. And that allows creators to make money. And once they start making money, it's not about, for the sake of making money. It's about sustainability. If creators start making metas and they start selling metas, what do you think they're going to keep doing? Right?
We already seeing it happen.
Yeah.
I haven't seen one person kind of fiddle around and create a meta and then just walk away. They're continually putting out more metas.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is why we went from 200 to 300 in a week.
That's right.
That's right. We're actually witnessing a creator boom, which is what we wanted in the first place, right? And I don't understand how anyone could be opposed to that.
If you're opposed to that, that means you're opposed to creators making money. You're opposed to adding more development into Decentraland. Yeah. Right. So it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. If you're detracting from, the allure of the platform itself, for developers and content creators.
And it's not as if we hacked Decentraland and we're cheating, right? This is what's possible, right? There's other people that are going to make dApps for Decentraland too.
It's true. Yeah.
As a matter of fact, there is one. Metalith made a dApp that's leveraging Decentraland assets, right? They're splitting land into shards that several people can now own one piece of land with these shards. That stuff is possible.
Yeah, that brings up another great point, like whether all these community created tools that we're starting to see come about, is this what Decentraland is supposed to be about? Like,
hell yeah.
Or are we supposed to expect the team to do everything? Because sometimes when you go to the Decentraland Discord, that's kind of like the sentiment I hear from people. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
They're kicking and screaming.
You know what? We made the same mistake. Remember when we first started? We were like, hey, DCL, you need to be doing this and that, and this is where you should be going. And that was the wrong approach.
Yeah.
We need to build Decentraland. We're the ones who need to do it.
Agreed.
They make it easier for us to do it, and that is what we're asking now. Just make it easier. Allow hyperlinks, right? You cannot be in Decentraland on a web browser and not be able to click out and just open a new tab within Decentraland. Like, that doesn't make any sense, right? So these are the things that we request now that make more sense. They're more aligned to what the team is building, right? Making it easier for everybody else. So it is sort of hard to understand when you jump into Decentraland. It's like the team should be doing this and that, but ultimately it's a user-generated world, right? And yes, some of that user generation requires a high barrier to entry, but that's better for the people jumping in, because they're going to see stuff that you couldn't build in CryptoVoxels. You're going to see stuff that you can't build in Minecraft. You're going to be able to monetize stuff, anything, right? You can sell real physical T-shirts in Decentraland if you want. Right? Then you'll be able to monetize wearables in Decentraland too. Like, that's what Decentraland is. It's not anything else. It's not. If you want it to be something else, then you have to build it, right?
Yeah.
That's the bottom line.
And it's a completely free market in the sense that if you think you have a model it's more beneficial to the community, or that you think is
do it.
It's gonna work. Just do it, and then that's the whole point of a free market, right? We let the market decide.
Exactly.
With the market's purchasing power is literally they're voting.
Exactly.
Like, they're gonna vote whether or not they agree with you.
Yeah.
You know?
Decentraland is no different than the real world.
It's not.
Decentraland is going to be almost exactly like Ready Player One. Everything is monetizable. Every single thing. And why? Because that's sustainable. People will create things, and if people vote with their dollars, they'll make more of that stuff.
100%.
And if they don't vote with their dollars, there's going to be less of that stuff. And that's it.
Yeah. That's it.
You don't have to police anything. You don't have to shut down anything. And you missed a good conversation with H. Provocos, too. We were talking about decentralization and
yeah, if you want to kind of like brief me on it, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, so...
And the audience, yeah.
So HP, so it was really early for him, so he didn't jump in until the last 20 minutes or so.
And a little background on HP too, like he's been around since the beginning, right?
Yeah, OG as OG gets.
Yeah, it seems like he's always there, like, to provide some kind of like wizardry.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he just comes out of the left field with some kind of like contribution that nobody was expecting. Like, he's just always down and ready to develop something awesome, you know?
Yeah, so he jumps in, 20 minutes left into the round table, and real nice guy. I asked him a couple of questions on decentralization and why Decentraland decided to do one thing over another. And one of them was, when you jump into Decentraland, you see 50 avatars, you're actually doing a peer-to-peer connection with each avatar. You're not on a server with each other within Decentraland. It's a peer-to-peer connection. And I asked him, was that what motivated that decision? And he said it was the decentralization. And one of the interesting things that I realized, talking to HP was, I had the same question about nefarious content. And Decentraland is not going to be any different than a website or a server running, nodes for the internet, right? It's not going to be different. So we're going to see Decentraland being used for nefarious activity too, but it's just a server that you just shut down. You vote with the DAO to remove that server, but it doesn't prevent those bad actors from creating a new server and running Decentraland again. This is no different. This is no different activity than anyone,
How do you shut down that server though?
So you just disconnect it from the main load bearing. I forget what it's called. It's a load server, load balancer, from accessing the entire pool of Decentraland. So you like, for
Interesting.
example, in these, so they're catalysts. They're called
Mm-hmm.
catalysts. So you
Mm-hmm.
have catalysts distributed around the world. One
Mm-hmm.
catalyst is supporting nefarious content, right? You make that discovery, you do a DAO vote to remove them from the list of catalysts that can be running the latest update in Decentraland, and then that server nobody's going to be routed to that server any longer.
Oh, okay. Wow.
So, but that doesn't mean that bad actor can't just stand
Yeah.
up a new server and just be
Yeah.
part of it, right? So, but that's the name of the game, right? That's the daily activity of running Catalyst and being part of the foundation and the DAO and doing all these votes. That's just part of what you're going to see. Now, that's not going to happen anytime soon. There's no reason for any nefarious activity to be happening in Decentraland yet, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. From what I've seen so far, the community is actually pretty good.
yeah,
The etiquette is like through the roof in this community, like
it is.
especially during like these conference events.
You know,
Every now and then, like during that concert, a couple of trolls, including myself, like jump on stage and kind of like ruin the immersion, right?
yeah.
But in general, it's pretty good. Like everybody plays their role. Like if you're an audience member, everyone's just staying in the audience. You know,
Yeah.
I don't see nefarious.
I think what it
activity.
is that the age of the audience is much higher.
Yeah.
They're not like kids jumping into it because they don't have wallets, they don't have money, they don't have all that stuff, right? So
it's true. Yeah, once you get to that point where you see nonstop trolling, and then the DAO gets to the point where like, all right, this is a priority issue now. Like we need to address how to moderate this nefarious shit. That's when you know you've kind of like broken critical mass. I feel like.
Yeah, and so to prevent people from seeing nefarious content that is up in Decentraland, there is a way to just put a black box around it very quickly. And doesn't mean you can't go and see behind the black box, but at least you won't like see it just because you're just randomly in Decentraland, right?
So there has to be a way to like throttle that too, meaning like you can't just put black boxes on everything, right? You may have to have like a cooldown timer on the amount of things you could flag, I guess.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, so that that's going to be hard to, because you don't want to be policing everything either, right? So
no, unless you're incentivized to do so, like there's some kind of bounty program in place to like you're it's almost like a job in a sense.
Now that's a good idea.
Yeah, it's to be on the lookout, like a neighborhood watch type system. People want to uphold the integrity of the platform, not only because they're compensated to do so, but also just because we want to see the platform succeed, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's a little early to kind of like figure that part out, because like we're identifying right now. Everyone seems to be playing ball,
Yeah.
which is good.
Yeah, it's like street basketball. You just set up the ground rules, and you can give and take.
Yeah,
a couple fouls for free.
Definitely.
But
yeah, man, like it's pretty interesting so far. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that Decentraland is a unique place, and ultimately you make it what you want it to be, and the market decides if they agree with you. If they don't, then you're gonna disappear. That's it.
Yeah, it's true.
And that's how it should be. Like it shouldn't be any different. It shouldn't be like supporting everybody like just for the sake of support. It shouldn't be.
Yeah, there's other platforms for that. That's the sandbox business model. They've created the community building tools where that's
the only tool.
Exactly. That's as far as your imagination can go. As far as the sandbox team tells you it can go.
Yes, that's exactly right.
The sandbox sets those limitations. They're the ones who determine what you can and cannot build. So if you want that kind of structure and that kind of guidance, and where you're not allowed to create on your phone freely, then that's the place you need to go to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And that's good. If you want to go there, that's great.
Yeah. The sandbox is going to be a great product.
Yes.
I 100% believe that. That team is phenomenal. Like they're building some great products.
They're well funded. They got, user generated NFTs. That's what we're trying to build. Yeah. It's just, with Decentraland, we have a vast openness, right? Of anything that anybody can create is now an NFT. With the sandbox, it's structured. There's a limitation to what you can build in Decentraland. In Sandbox. So we like their model. That's what we're doing too. So it's good.
Good.
Those different worlds, they have a place. They have their own market clearly, and they should exist because people are voting for those things with their dollars and their time, and that's that, right?
Yeah.
Anything else is just going to disappear.
Totally.
So, so we
What else,
got
Will?
some updates. Well, I
We have
don't
a
really
ton of updates.
I don't
yeah.
really want to talk about this particular update yet because
Okay.
I wanted to focus this podcast on user generated NFTs, deployable in Decentraland. But we do have a meta coming out that's going to be very, very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And we believe that this particular meta, in partnership with another company, is going to bring the DAU pretty high.
Yeah.
And this is like the early first phase of the meta. There's going to be updates to that meta. There's going to be new meta supporting this game, and it should be dropping pretty soon. And
Yeah.
once it drops, then we'll have another podcast to talk about it.
Yeah, and I think once this drops and the community becomes, mass aware of MetaZone and its functionality within the world and why this is important, more and more projects are going to start to understand. They're going to become more compelled to want to kind of like replicate this model. You know what I mean? Because there were projects in the past that I think had this vision in mind, but the tool wasn't there to actually distribute.
Yeah, the game.
Yeah, that we have an open world with so much potential, like hosting your game elements and game experience. It's just how the fuck do you accomplish that, where you have to literally knock door by door of every single landowner. Hey, are you interested in hosting this questing ground, or are you interested in hosting this shop that I built, for my battle racer cars or something like that? You know what I mean? Every game developer has this vision in mind. It's just how to execute that is, up until this point, has been a monstrous feat that I think a lot of them couldn't figure out on their own.
No, absolutely. I totally agree. I know who you're talking about, and we'll probably talk about them after this other game launches. Because I think they were trying to do exactly what we can make easy in distributing the game. What they were trying to do is own a bunch of parcels, deploy the game on those parcels because they owned them, right? That was the only way to do it. But now you don't have to own the parcels. The only thing a game maker, a game developer needs to do is just to align the incentives of deploying the game with the landowner. If you align that landowner will deploy your game.
100%. And that's why figuring out these payment contracts are so important for us. And they need to be flexible because we have our own payment structure, our own pay split that we think works for our games. But who's to say the next game developer, we don't want to force them to use our payment structure, right?
Yeah.
It needs to be as flexible as possible. Like you can come up with your own incentive structure for whatever game experience you want to provide to the community, Yeah. Because like we're saying, it's not just one entity. Like it requires the collaboration of a bunch of hosts in order to create something compelling,
That's right. Yeah, because this game, man, I want to talk about it, but
I do too, man.
I want to wait until we make this official.
Yeah, we got to do things
properly.
Right, because it's not just it's not us, it's not our creation. We didn't create this.
Yeah, we didn't. We didn't create it. This is
somebody
IP.
Else did.
Yeah, this is IP that existed for several years. It's a very obvious and famous IP in the crypto world.
Oh man, you're spilling too much, dude.
Well, I mean, it is what it is, man. But it is a well-known IP, and I mean, the game is going to speak for themselves, and we're just distributing that game. That's it.
That's it. Because and then the two parties met, and then we recognize like this can happen.
Yeah.
And not just that this can happen. It's just that people will want this to happen. They're not aware of like how cool this is going to be until it's actually there.
Exactly.
I'm anticipating like a huge reaction, honestly.
Yeah. Because we've seen a prototype of this like deployed, and we've seen an example of Decentraland pushing this prototype, several months ago, and the reaction was huge. It was huge. And it was also equally huge in disappointment because it wasn't what people expected it to be.
Yeah.
And so we're using a bunch of like code words here to represent something, but
Yeah, like it, literally, if you dig into like all of our podcast archives, you could probably figure out what we're talking about.
yeah.
Because also, like when we first came into Decentraland, this was one of our first conceptual ideas of what we wanted to do on our own.
Yeah, we were gonna do this on our own,
We
but
were gonna do this.
we knew that it was like a huge undertaking.
Yeah.
I mean, it was huge.
Yeah. I was gonna have to become a freaking
Yeah.
3D Blender master like overnight. Not overnight, but I was gonna.
Yeah.
I got started on that, but I never really fully went through. But trust me, you don't want me designing these things.
Yeah.
That is not my forte. You know, I'm not creative in that sense. Like,
no, there's a ton of work that needs to go into
Yeah.
making this game successful, and a lot of this work has already been done previously because they've tried to do this in the past, and they didn't have a distribution platform to do this successfully in Decentraland. So, I mean, I don't know. I think you'll understand like the implications of this game long term because there's an example of it existing in the real world that it's almost exactly the same thing, but just in Decentraland. Like that's the only difference. It's the same game, but in Decentraland.
and it's way more intimate because it's an actual 3D immersive world that
Exactly.
you're a part of.
Yeah, instead of some augmented reality game.
Oh my god,
God
we just
damn
gave
it.
it completely away.
Oh,
yeah.
shit.
It's gonna be cool. It's gonna be the bee's knees, guys.
Yeah.
I guarantee it. Like I'm already like in super anticipation mode for this.
Yeah. All right, this next subject.
Yeah. I don't know if you just want to kind of like we haven't done this in a while. Just pull up MetaZone if you want. Just kind of like just run down all the cool shit, I guess, so we can kind of.
Yeah, I know we're forgetting something.
Are we?
Yeah, we're definitely forgetting something.
Oh man, I hate when this happens.
Oh yeah, I know what it was. So we got another good 15 minutes or so. The Decentraland conference. You did a really good job recording that whole thing, man. Like
Appreciate
the
that.
commentary was like spot on. It was like comical, entertaining. It was interesting.
I'll take that.
You did very well. You need to do more of that stuff, actually.
Yeah, I've been getting that feedback. You know, I hesitate just because like I cringe at my own self.
Yeah.
Meaning like I don't think I'm funny or entertaining or informative.
You know what?
But apparently I am because people are saying such things. So I kind of have to take that feedback and run with it, right?
Yeah, I know how you feel. Remember somebody made a comment on my voice?
Yeah. Dude. How do you feel about your voice, dude? Like, does it turn you on? No?
I didn't realize I had an asset. I mean, I'm the one who doesn't talk. Like if you know me in real life, I'm the quiet one. I'm the one who doesn't say anything. I rather listen. I rather solve problems. I rather do the engineering stuff.
Yeah.
That's me. That's my role in reality. I'm not the talker. So when I heard somebody really enjoyed like my radio voice, I was like, wow.
It's that intro, dude. It's that fucking intro, that that intro song, and then you're like, "Welcome back to the It's like you got a lot of baritone in your voice, dude. It sounds like a sexy saxophone. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I didn't realize I was doing that.
Yeah. So you got that feedback. So now it's kind of like you got to run with it too.
Yeah.
Like
I guess,
you said,
I guess so.
We're starting to understand ourselves a little bit better. You know what I mean?
I'm thinking it's just the hardware that we're using, to be honest. I don't think I have anything special. So
yeah, same here, dude. But yeah, I'm gonna keep doing that because I recognize the value in it just for the people who aren't able to, because dude, we're a global platform. Not everyone can attend all the events, right? So
yeah, speaking of a global platform, just to talk about what you're saying, somebody wrote an article about MetaZone in Japanese. Did you see that?
No.
You didn't see that? Let me pull it up here.
Oh, that's freaking badass, dude.
Yeah, 1 second.
Did you translate it? Maybe it was like a hate article.
No, I'm
like,
sure.
Fuck these guys.
Yeah. I'll just send it to you because it's gonna reveal something.
Oh, really? Okay.
Let me see if I can.
Yeah, I guess the segue off of that is you're
Well,
basically
so I wanted to talk about the conference though. So one of our
okay.
biggest announcements in the conference was the fact that we're close to generating 1 million mana in the 2.5 months that we've launched. So the biggest takeaway of that is the fact that most of that money is being generated from creators, and most of that money goes to the creators. Like that's a huge deal, because what that means is you're going to have more content being generated through MetaZone and deployed in Decentraland, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I actually can't share this because it's a another leak, but
Oh, okay. All
but
right.
it's in Japanese, so it's cool.
Yeah, I get the gist. Yeah, meaning like I heard you talking about this morning. How we got some. There's got to be like some language tab somewhere on our website that translates for
Yeah,
people around the world.
the way that works is there isn't a tab that you click on or anything. If you go to the Discord, I just shared that link. That way
Okay.
you see what I'm talking about. But the way that works is judging by your IP, it'll show you the correct language based on which country you're in. So
Oh, I see.
and there's actually a proper way of doing this. So there's a spreadsheet that you can use that represents each little section on a website. And then you have a column for English words. Then you have a column for Japanese. And you have a column for Spanish. And then the website just pulls the right data when it needs to. And you have a worldwide application, in different languages.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, I'm looking at this article right now. It's looks like a full breakdown.
Yeah.
It's actually all about MetaZone, which is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's actually like some community, whatever community this is. There's some comments and stuff and feedback, I think, which is nice. I think that's what that is. Maybe
Yeah,
not.
maybe not. I don't know.
It's all in Japanese, so I have no idea. But it looks like there's some community engagement, so hopefully it's positive.
Yeah, and we'll translate it just to understand like what it is and give this guy
Yeah.
props and all that.
This is great.
So yeah, so 1 million mana in revenue. That's really good. Creators being able to do that.
Yeah, we're really happy about that for sure.
Yeah.
And like just yeah, it's again just we're just gonna it's the chicken and egg thing. Like if you're a developer, do you think that, and then do you think, oh, okay, it's already too saturated?
Yeah.
Like,
Hell no.
No,
Hell
it's
no.
not. It's not. Your contribution is what's gonna bring more and more people, more and more.
Yeah. So let me give you a little bit more details as to what 1 million mana means really. If you look at, so we have some metrics on MetaZone, only administrators can see. But if you look at them, there's only 20 creators. That's it, 20. 20 have been able to generate 1 million mana in the 2.5 months.
Mm-hmm.
And there's roughly 50 landowners who have deployed these metas on 100 pieces of land. Just 100.
Yeah.
And you provided some, I wanted to use those, but it might have gotten too technical, but you provided some metrics too. Like that's like 0.001%.
0.0012% of all the publicly available land. Yeah. And I heard recently somewhere that in a couple of years the districts are going to become public. I don't know who the fuck said that. That doesn't make any sense to me, but I would like that. But if that's the case, then in a couple of years that's 0.0, like that just makes it double as scarce.
Yeah, exactly. And so obviously
we haven't even tapped, like we're barely scratching the mountain with all the gold inside of it. You know what I mean? Barely picking at it with the fucking fork.
Yeah, with a fork. That's right. And
like, yeah.
So it's 100 lands. Like you're saying, 0.0012% of all available lands have deployed metas. So we're expecting more people to start deploying stuff, and we're expecting more creators to make more stuff. So I wanted to expand the thought process and thinking about what MetaZone is just a little bit.
Yeah.
So just like we were talking about previously about this game being launched, this game is not being hosted in MetaZone. There's nothing this game has to do with MetaZone other than you can purchase and deploy this game onto Decentraland. So what does that mean? That means that any creator out there that comes up with a game or experience or some application that you can deploy into Decentraland, It doesn't have to run within MetaZone. Like you can run your own website, your own backend, your own experience, and deploy that experience through MetaZone. And you can monetize it whatever way you want through your website, through whatever method you want on Decentraland. And you don't have to use our smart contracts. You just develop your own, deploy your own, use your own, and that's up to you to decide. Like we don't want to restrict anybody to do anything. And eventually MetaZone could become, like OpenSea in the sense that you can sell NFTs, mint NFTs, do a marketplace transaction between two people. We want to make this into a big thing, and we want to be flexible and cater to the developer market, because that is what's going to make Decentraland as cool as we think it will be.
I agree.
So hopefully that helps kind of expand your thought process on Decentraland or on MetaZone, because it's not just about making buildings. It's not just about making like video screens. It's open to your imagination. If you're a developer, like really you have all the assets, all the capabilities that the internet has provided you. You can fit that within Decentraland. You just have to think creatively in 3D now.
Yeah, and there's also like more to it than just creation too. Just like any business, you can't just create something and just throw it on the market. Like imagine Steam, you just create like a game, indie game, and you put no marketing effort whatsoever.
Yeah.
Kind of like raise awareness for what you just created. Nobody's going to find your game. Nobody's going to buy it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So there's more elements to it. And we've seen that work with creators like SugarClub. Like he spent years building that brand in Decentraland, and he's starting to finally see some traction. Like
SugarClub is such a good example. Like you were saying, he spent years creating that reputation in Decentraland as a place to go to like enjoy like really badass music. Like when I jumped into Decentraland, I didn't think one of the cool things about what will happen in Decentraland is like listening to good music, and it has been, and partly because SugarClub. Right. And now that he's created this reputation, he's made more money through MetaZone than he has throughout that entire time in Decentraland. So what does that mean? Does that mean like he's a bad guy for generating some revenue and supporting his stuff in Decentraland? No. It just means that he's going to be making more stuff. More stuff that people want to deploy. And if they don't want to deploy it, then he makes less stuff because nobody's buying it.
Exactly.
Like, so
you can't expect him to just stick around. He was already
jumping ship to CV, right?
Yeah, just exploring his other options. He spent years, like we said, building that brand and that reputation, but it wasn't sustainable because like he put a lot of work, and he learned how to code himself a little bit and how to build, and like for what people weren't showing him the appreciation that he deserved.
Right.
But now all of a sudden he built something in like a week, and people have a way to like we said, people have a way to show that appreciation because they're getting something in return.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
We can't just have a donation economy. We got to have an actual legitimate economy where people are reciprocating that value.
Yeah.
People are creating value and exchanging it for other sources of value.
Yeah, and
that's how economies work.
Yeah, ultimately we call MetaZone the Decentraland's app store. And if you go look at the Apple App Store or the Android App Store, there's some free apps on there that you can download, but they're free because they can advertise on those apps.
Yeah, those platforms have billions of users, at potentially, to download their products. So there's other sources. They're not doing that expecting not to generate revenue.
Exactly. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Yeah. So in MetaZone, we will start to see free creations that people want to like deploy and stuff, but it's just we need to be able to generate some funds for the creators so they can sustain themselves a little bit, right? Have some incentive to continue building. Then once that incentive is there, then you start building like other assets that are free that can be deployable by anybody, and it just builds that reputation for you, right? So it's going to get there. It's just, man, this is early days of Decentraland. I don't know if people like really comprehend that yet.
I think like the creator types understand that, developers and whatnot. And a lot of the people who are like maximum frustrated are the people who were sold like this VR vision or something in the white paper.
Yeah.
That's why they got so excited, and a lot of people have left because of that, because the platform is kind of like
That's another
putting
thing.
that back.
I don't understand. VR is cool. It's great. But how
Yeah.
many people have VR? What percentage have VR? 1%, maybe?
Yeah, I'll be honest, dude. I have an Oculus and I used it twice, and I don't feel compelled to go back to it. I fucking have it. I spent the money on it.
Yeah.
There's tons of games and they're cool and all, but I don't know what it is, man. Like the actual act of maybe putting it on is enough to like make me not want to do it. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But it's definitely not like the medium of choice if you're trying to create something like, you know.
Totally agree. I mean, dude, it's great. If we can support it, that's fantastic.
Yeah, why not?
I don't think that's priority. I think more priority is having Decentraland run on your phone.
That would be way bigger.
Yeah, because now when like you're on the couch and there's an event going on that you want to check out, you just jump in on your phone.
And this meta release that we just talked about is perfect for that, because there's a reason.
Dude, I didn't even like put those two together, but you're right.
Yeah, like now that there's kind of like a reason to kind of like continually check in on what's going on in Decentraland. You know what I mean?
That's so
and the
true,
perfect
dude.
way to do that is with your mobile application. Like,
yes,
you don't want to have to run your ass to your fucking computer every single time. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. That's so true, dude.
And like I said, that's just the beginning of these type of applications. So it's kind of like, I think that's going to accelerate the push for mobile, right? People are just going to demand it.
Yeah. It's like, why do I need to jump on my desktop to play this game?
And such.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's going to be great.
Yeah.
So
that's true, man.
Like,
and this meta here that we keep talking about, like dancing around it, it's like a showcase meta. It's going to really allow the outside, community to recognize like what's actually possible in Decentraland.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's again, it also aligns with our philosophy, like what everything Corv has created up until this point, the MVP, right?
Yeah.
It's not like the creators have a bigger vision in mind.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Oh, way bigger vision. It's as soon as you jump in, you're gonna feel that vision too, because you're gonna be like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that. You know what I mean? But this is just
this is like day one of this meta, so there's gonna be a lot, man, a lot more to this thing.
Yeah, think of it as like when Minecraft was created. I spent a lot of time researching Minecraft, and when Minecraft first launched, dude, that was an MVP product for sure.
For sure.
Because literally there wasn't much to do. It's just the foundation of what Minecraft was created.
Yeah.
And that was enough to like grab people's attention and like get them to onboard into this experience, right? But over time, it just blossomed into this like ridiculous thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm not saying this is the next Minecraft, but I'm trying to align people's expectations, you know what I mean? Of what this is.
No, I totally get you. And Minecraft is a good example because Minecraft it's deceptive as to how powerful it turned out to be. Because I remember, man, I crapped on it basically. When my brother first, remember I told you the story. My brother first played it on. It was on a browser, right?
Yeah.
And you put cubes on top of cubes. Yeah. And like those cubes are like ugly cubes, right? We were playing Counter-Strike at the time. I was like, dude, why play Minecraft when you can play Counter-Strike? It looks much better. It's more fun.
Yeah, dude, fucking Crisis was out, dude.
Yeah.
It's like, are we regressing as gamer society?
Exactly.
Like we're going back in time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Well, little did we know that's what the people wanted. Or some people.
Yeah.
Pretty large amount of people.
But and there was no decentralization. There was no cryptocurrency at that time. There was no concept of like ownership in the digital world. So
yeah, that's also important to talk about, because for those of you who don't think that Decentraland is a platform for gaming, I strongly disagree in the sense that Decentraland provides an opportunity that has never existed for the average gamer, in the sense that you're getting actual value in exchange for the time that you invest into this gaming experience. That's never been done before. And Decentraland is an open platform to kind of create that. And if you can't see that, recognize that, and if you think like all games are supposed to be, like I said, a crisis-like experience where it's supposed to be like ultra high graphics, like if I don't feel like I'm actually there, then it's not worth playing. That's not how gaming is.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there's a market for that, but there's a reason why the video game industry is the biggest entertainment industry in the world, because there's so much variety.
Totally agree. I mean, video game industry has surpassed like the movie industry since like, I don't know, the 90s or something.
Yeah, and it's still scoffed at somehow, like by normal people.
Yeah, it's so weird.
It is. Well, it's getting less and less like ridiculed. Like if you're a gamer, like the generation coming after us, like everyone's a gamer.
Yeah,
everyone who has kids right now.
Yeah,
they all game.
Yeah, there won't be a distinction between a gamer and a non-gamer.
Exactly. And you know what I was thinking about too? Like I was having a discussion with my parents about this. They don't get this. Like I tried to explain what's going on here. They don't get it, dude, because like they don't understand why anybody would pay money for like digital stuff, like a digital house.
Yeah.
A digital whatever the fuck. And then I point them like, okay, you don't see that value, but look what happened last Christmas. Like from my nieces and nephews and shit. I bought them all real world shit.
Yeah.
So they could have fun. And they played with it for like 10 minutes. They dumped on the ground. They just left it. And they went straight back to their video games.
Yeah, yeah,
I was like, if I would have spent that, I spent like hundreds of dollars on their toys. And I was a little disappointed in their engagement. If I would have spent... If I would have spent that same amount of money onto their Roblox accounts or their Minecraft accounts or their whatever the fuck digital world that they're immersed in, they would be using those items all the time, every single day. They understand the value of these things. They overvalue these digital items over physical items.
For
you know
sure.
what I mean? So you can't undersell gaming is what I'm saying.
No, actually. Yeah, no, that's funny. It's weird because a lot of these kids, you know, they grew up with an iPad in their face.
Yeah, like as soon as they're 2 or 3 years old.
Like your brothers, like your nephews, they would come over to my house and they would touch my flat screen TV, thinking like it's a huge iPad.
So you're telling me, man, I got smudges all over my screens, dude, like all over the place. Everything is touchable to them, like
yeah.
That's kind of like
their expectations, right? Their interface is a touch interface, right?
Yeah, that's an important cue for like developers to pick up on. Like the whole world should be like an interface we could touch.
It's like when we grew up, the interface was a remote control.
Yeah,
like we would look for the remote control before anything, and like we would dread having to get up to turn on the TV because we can't find the remote control, right?
Hell yeah!
So it's like it's different worlds, man. Different worlds have different like perceptions of value. And in this case, we got blockchain to back up that value for digital, stuff.
Yeah.
Like this is a brand new world, man. The people that are born today, they're not going to understand. It's like, you mean you had digital stuff that you couldn't own, like officially? Mm-hmm. That's going to be a weird concept to them.
Yeah, like why would you spend decades playing video games and like in your mom's basement?
Yeah,
working
for nothing.
At fucking Pizza Hut, you had nothing to show for it except like e-glory.
Yeah.
These same kids who say that, they're going to be rolling around in like fucking Lambos and shit because they spent equal amount of effort into their gaming experiences, but they accrued some legitimate value from it.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
That's right.
That's the difference.
Yeah.
That's what blockchain is tapping into. And like, again, if you don't see that, like fucking A. I don't.
Well, I wouldn't expect your parents to understand either. I mean, they're from a different world too, right? So.
Yeah, this actually scares them, dude. I literally told them about what we're doing. I think they got scared. They got scared of this potential reality. You know what I mean? And then I started explaining to them like that recent Elon Musk interview about Neuralink.
Yeah. Oh shit.
I started like combining the two prospects together where you could like Neuralink yourself into Decentraland. They're like, fuck that, dude. Like Jesus is coming for sure.
Yeah.
Like, and this is like end of days prophecy shit.
Right.
That's what they think.
I think you'll like that show called Uplink on Prime, on Amazon Prime. It's when people die, they get uploaded into this like Matrix-like world. And like a lot of the stuff that happens in there is very similar to stuff that can be done in Decentraland, like almost exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I recommend that show. I haven't finished watching it, but like the first couple of episodes were interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I had some other interesting conversations with people in the outside world about, like some guy was talking about augmented reality. He had like an old project that he was trying to create like augmented reality training tools for like the oil and gas industry or something like that. And I think it didn't succeed. But then I started explaining how like Decentraland or some kind of like metaverse platform is perfect for that.
Yeah.
That's just like a part of it. And then once I explained it to him, though, like it doesn't click right away. You know what I mean?
No, for sure, for sure.
It's a difficult concept to explain. Like it requires like you kind of have to be a gamer in a sense to understand it a little bit better.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I'm looking at the Bitcoin prices right now, and it's taking a bigger hit.
Good thing I'm not in the market, dude. I kind of like you saw this coming too, but so did I.
For sure.
Yeah, I took my money. I literally sold the top this time. Like,
nice.
Thankfully, I fucking sold the top, dude.
Nice.
So I'm waiting for it, and all I did was draw some meme lines, dude, and it totally worked out this time,
dude. Dude, that's how the world like understands these charts. Yeah. So if you understand like how meme lines are done, then you can practically predict what's going to happen just because the whole world is doing the exact same thing.
It's like self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Every now and then, like things go outside the norm's expectation, and I think that's usually just well activity.
Yeah,
people with the sizable bags to kind of like move markets.
Yeah. Well, we knew this was gonna dump, and I knew it was gonna dump before the halving because, come on.
Yeah.
I mean, it's obvious you're not gonna dump after the halving. That doesn't make any sense.
When is the halving?
It's like in a couple of days.
It's like tomorrow or something. It's very soon.
It's like soon. Tuesday. Yeah.
But it's probably going to keep dumping for maybe like a week or two, I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
But then we're going to have that. I mean, historically, post-halvings are always bullish territory, right?
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Historically.
It's just going to be a longer time frame for that bullish return.
Takes a couple of years.
Yeah.
But regardless, it's like you kind of want. This is the. I'm not financial advice, but probably like the final entry opportunity.
Yep.
Before like this bullish trajectory begins.
Totally agree. This is like the final entry from like the bottom perspective, right?
There's always the accumulation phase.
Yeah, accumulation phase. There's always going to be like more time to accumulate because the prices will trend upwards. Mm-hmm. But this is like going to be near the bottom.
I agree.
So I think we covered everything today. I wanted to make this short, so we're about an hour and 11 minutes in.
There's a couple more things I want to talk about, just real quickly. Maybe we could.
Yeah, sure. What is it?
Plan for future podcasts for sure. Like we've got to get the hosts together.
Oh yeah.
We have to.
Oh yeah, dude. Another thing is maybe we should just announce it here too. The tournament.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's another thing we got to talk about, and why we want to bring the hosts in, because this is a community concern. I mean, our own community of hosts hosting our games, that the daily active user count isn't as high as it was like in the first month, right?
Yeah, and we have some ways to kind of mitigate that coming up. So we're waiting a couple of things to happen for that to come to fruition. But
yeah.
There's ways where we'll be able to support like all our hosts who are running the games to where you don't start at 0, right, for every day, right?
Yeah.
So maybe you start at 20. Who knows?
Yeah. And it might require like a community contribution for such and such to occur. You know what I mean? Like we're in experimentation phase, like of trying to figure out like the best incentive models for players to stay engaged.
Yeah.
I think the killer engagement opportunity is going to be once we figure out how to incorporate like actual earnable NFTs into these game experiences. But that's such a slow process. Like we have to figure out. That's why I support the open free market system so much. Because
I feel like we've made a lot of headway in that. I think we've been able to convince some people towards an open market. I think they knew that it was going to head towards that anyways, but it just didn't make sense to make any restrictions just because it's a pain in the ass. People are going to complain either way, so just make it open market. Let the market decide like what happens.
Yeah, 100%. It's like if we took the same philosophical approach as like the wearable community, or the people who are like early investors and they're trying their best to kind of like hamper further creation, to kind of like they're afraid, and I understand they're afraid the value of their assets are going to deplete the more the supply increases, and that's a legitimate concern if you're an investor, right?
Yeah, but the way that I look at it is these are assets made by Decentraland, so they're always going to have some inherent value. And this early on, I mean, you want to hold on to these NFTs for the most part, right?
Yeah.
Even if it's like a shirt that's like 10,000 of them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can only earn them in the launch event, right? They have some value, some inherent value.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, if MetaZone took that same approach, then like if we were just trying to create assets with value for the sake of people who are purchasing and investing in them, then like we'd be at a point where we're trying our best to resist future creation. You know, like we're trying to like stop creators from onboarding. Like, listen, we have
plenty of buildings.
No we have enough metas out there, and there's not enough people to buy them. So like, please stop creating. Like that's how I think of it, and that limits creation so much with that mind approach that, you know, I don't know.
No,
we're not going to do that. We're supporting like a free market. We let the creators themselves create the value and like the demand for their products.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that's the way a healthy economy is supposed to function. But that's just me. I'm just a pleb.
No, you're not you're not wrong, dude. You're definitely not wrong. So? No, because if we start putting restrictions, then somebody has to police it, and then there's going to be people who are let in and people who are not let in, and it shouldn't be that way.
Yeah, I mean, we could create like some kind of super rare infrastructure for metas, where it's literally called Super MetaZone or something like that, and
for
only
games
or only creations approved by some kind of committee of like awesome creators is approved or allowed to join. That's not free.
Yeah,
that's not what I want. We want anybody, like I've already said, we have people who literally learned how to use Blender like 4 or 5 weeks ago, and they're creating and they're selling.
Yeah.
And that's what we want to see. That to me is way more beautiful than, you know, creating scarce digital assets. You know what I mean?
Totally agree. And it's all about reputation. The ones that sell the best have like a reputation, or, you know, the meta or the thing that they created looks so badass that, you know, people just like it, right? And they deploy it. Yeah. But man, this is how you make a name for yourself. Like if you go and and make anything for super rare, or what's the other one called, Open Origin or whatever?
I don't know.
You have to already be sort of like an artist to deploy there, to make stuff there. And you have to be able to point to a website or your Instagram account and stuff that you've created in the past, like art, in order to be let in. And I know that they're trying to have some minimum, you know, requirement for like quality, but I don't think that makes sense to do that in Decentraland. Or MetaZone.
There's probably a market for that. So again, this is an opportunity. Somebody else could create their own super rare meta platform.
Yep.
You know, this reinforces our point. Like MetaZone isn't trying to create a monopoly on things.
Yeah, exactly.
This is a free market. You can literally replicate MetaZone and create a better product than us and just murder us.
Exactly.
We're expecting that.
Yeah.
you know,
because it's possible. Right? Yeah. There's nothing to stop it. What are we going to do? Like go into the Discords and like, you know, start pitchforks and torches and like just start yelling like nobody should be competing with MetaZone. Like, come on.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense.
We don't have any like hidden patents for filing here.
No, definitely not.
You know what I mean? This is it. It is what it is, man. Like,
yeah. And you can do this faster. Do it.
Yeah.
Let's see it. You know, there's just do it. I mean, what else could we say?
I agree.
So, having said that, I think that concludes our podcast for this week.
Yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there for the hosts. Like,
yeah. So
we're thinking about you guys a lot. You know, we're always thinking about that because we want you satisfied.
You know what? Let's do it this week. Let's just contact all the hosts and see if all of them can join. Right, we just put all 20 of them in a Zoom call and just talk about stuff.
Yeah, like let's talk. Yeah, let's just because you wanted to announce we got a piece of land up for grabs.
Oh yeah, let's talk. Yeah, almost forgot about that. So, Decentraland has given us land to contribute to like a tournament style,
some kind of event.
Some kind of event, yeah.
Yeah.
And so what did we agree to? I think it was. Oh, I know what we're gonna do. Okay, so we're gonna put this land into an address, and we're gonna have other hosts, other landowners contribute NFTs or whatever to this address, and I think players who play our games from Block Runner, Block Hole, Pack Runner, and Orb Jumper, all the players that play throughout the rest of this month will have a chance to win any one of those NFTs randomly.
Mm-hmm.
And so the more chances the more plays that you put into one of these games, the more tickets you get, and therefore the more chance to win one NFT versus another. And one of those NFTs is a piece of land, I think, right next to Vegas City or one of those districts. So it's
a pretty good piece of land.
Yeah, it's good. It's worth like between 10 to 20,000 mana. So this is no joke of a prize.
Yeah.
So so that's what we're gonna do. We got to make the formal announcement. And
should we have this host discussion? I mean, we kind of had one on Discord, but should we have this part of the host roundtable? Like,
no, we should.
Yeah.
No, yeah,
so
absolutely.
After we figure it out, because we tried to figure it out internally amongst us three.
Yeah, we couldn't.
We couldn't, and it didn't feel right. And like, that's not all the hosts need to be involved in this decision because
they get to benefit.
Yeah, we want it to where everybody gets at least a piece of the action.
Yeah,
that this reward can attract. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's going to require like a marketing effort from all of our hosts combined. You know?
Yeah.
Anorak, Studs, Loco.
Yeah.
Everybody. So we'll see.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't feel right also to just pick one game, right? Because
why?
It screws over people who don't own that one game, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, this is just what we're talking about. I don't know. Anyways.
Yeah, let's I
keep
totally
on
agree.
Rocking.
I think we're making good progress in Decentraland. I like what the Decentraland team is doing. If we were running Decentraland, I'll tell you right now, and Corv will tell you the same thing, we would be doing the exact same thing Decentraland is doing right now. Nothing different.
Yeah.
The exact same thing.
Yeah, Corv is actually a real big fan of the roadmap.
Yeah.
Like he always says that from the beginning. He's like he's a developer, man. He's a wizard at this stuff. And he went deep into the roadmap and he likes what he sees. And if he likes what he sees, then I think we're on a good path.
Yeah, I agree.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, having said that, let's end it. I appreciate you guys listening and watching. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at the Block Runner, and stay tuned for our weekly roundtables. They seem to be popular, getting more interesting every single week.